It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Sainsbury's. It's part of their Taste the Difference range of beers, selected by our experts. And this is a Ruby Red Ale. It's coming in at 4.5% ABV in a 500 milliliter bottle. There's the bottle cap. Nice dark brown glass, which I really like. I really like that. None of this clear glass rubbish on display here. I'll talk about that in a moment. I've discussed that quite a lot over the previous Sainsbury's beers, so we're just going to get this one out. We're going to kind of shuffle it up a bit and change our conversation up a bit. So you can see the carbonation there on the neck of the bottle as we opened it. Very good. I do like a darker ale. I think these regional breweries are much better at brewing darker ales than they are brewing light ales. They seem to go through their record books when they produce these darker beers, and it's almost like the brewers know what they're doing when they produce like golden ales and light ales. Maybe pale ales and IPAs, they just know what they're doing. But when it comes to darker ales, they have to go through their brewer's logs, which may go back 1666. I think it was 16 something. Shepherd named 1667 or something like that. So they got like 300, 400 years of brewing history there. And so they can go back through their log and see how to brew a darker beer. Because they don't brew them that much, to be honest with you, because it's more of a rarity to sell it. I love it. I much prefer to drink these darker ales, from the regional breweries at least, than their lighter ales. This is a one finger, slightly off-white head, good levels of carbonation, deep red, ruby, beautiful. It looks like a piece of mahogany wood in the glass here. A mahogany colour. And let's get the aroma. See, this is really nutty and biscuity, bready. There's a little bit of licorice in here. There's a little bit of plum and fig and prune. It smells delightful. It really does. This smells fantastic. If I had a Sainsbury's local to me, Sainsbury's local is one of their brands of stores, but we don't have a Sainsbury's local to where I live. A big one anyway. But if I did, so far, judging by the aroma alone, and the fact it was only £1.60 a bottle, I'd probably buy this 4 nights out of 5 of the working week. I do drink in the working week. I'm not one of those school night people. I don't understand that, the whole school night thing. I've given you my 8 hours. Now these are my 4 or 5 hours before I go to bed, and I can do what the hell I want with them. I'm not going to pander to going to bed early so I can get up and do an 8-hour shift for you. No, absolutely not. These are my 4 or 5 hours, and I will use them as I damn well please. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Ah, good. That is really good, really good. In fact, this is I've reviewed now about 4. I've reviewed 4 beers from Sainsbury's today. Citrus Ale, Best Bitter, Golden Ale, and now this Ruby Red Ale. And I'm happy to say, stone the crows. Stone the crows. If you're in the supermarket aisle now, the Sainsbury's supermarket aisle, and you see this ruby red ale, and you like a slightly darker, more rich beer, much more of a malt forward beer, malt complexity, biscuit malt, darker malt, slightly roasted malts, then buy this. This is a Stone the Crow's beer for the price, for that £1.60. It's blooming decent. Carbonation pushes the beer around the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. It's biscuity, it's bready, it's nutty, it's chewy. It's lovely, lovely mouthfeel, creamy and rich. It's slightly sweet over here from the malt, and then it's got a nice kind of bitterness over here from the hops. The hops are clashing with the malts, and when they clash with a darker malt, instead of giving grapefruit, passion fruit, mango flavours, they give off more of a plum, fig, prune. And that's because they're clashing with the darker malts in the beer. And I always find that fascinating. Always a fascinating thing to drink a beer like this and just stand back and marvel in its absolute glory. This is a really cheap beer in today's money. In the world we're living in now, where if you go to a pub, at the moment, September at least, you're paying about £5 a pint. For a decent pint, you're paying about £5. With the whole CO2 thing going on, I don't know where beer prices are going to go. Some are saying it could be like £15, £16 a pint, which is completely ridiculous. That's Norwegian prices. This is a beer for the people. This is a beer for your working man. This is your beer for your man who's just slogged on a building site for 8 hours, or put a load of tiles on a roof, or delivered 1 million parcels with one of these online delivery firms. And he's just got home, and the first thing he wants to do is walk through the door, and he wants to open that fridge door, hear that delightful hiss of the bottle cap coming off, and enjoying a pint of beer. And it should always be accessible to the working person. £16, £15 a pint is just absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Thankfully, this is £1.60. And it's delicious. There's a little bit of licorice in there. It's really good. Really good. What you might see going forward is with this whole CO2 thing. I've started talking about it now. I might as well finish talking about it. I'll also cover the brown glass as well very quickly. What you might see going forward is brewers going back to producing bottle conditioned beers where the yeast produces some of the CO2. Imagine that. Imagine that. Bottle conditioned beer, where you don't have to use much CO2 at all. In fact, no CO2, because the yeast is doing it. The other thing I want to talk about is dark brown glass. It's very important, I think, that a brewer, and of course Sainsbury's, know what they're talking about. They put all of their beers from this Taste the Difference range into brown glass bottles. It's very important to protect the hops. Clear glass bottles are just marketing rubbish. They may let you see the beer, look at the beer, but that beer is being hammered by the lights in the supermarket aisles, and then the sun. If a pallet of bottles is left out in the sun for, I don't know, an hour or so, you're going to get a lot of light strike, and it's going to be terrible for the beer. So dark brown glass is the way to go. I think it looks more traditional too, way more traditional. This ale is brewed using mineral water drawn from the artisan well deep beneath the shop of Neame Brewery. It is heated and combined with crushed pale ale and crystal malts at the start of the brewing process. The generous additions of UK Cascade and East Kent Goldings hops produce a bittersweet, fruity flavour to this medium-bodied ale. It is well balanced, clean, crisp beer with hints of coloured malt character. Coloured malt character. Enjoy lightly chilled. Coloured malt character. I mean, they've got it on the front here. That's what should be on the back. Full bodied, plum, prunes, raisins, and a touch of toffee. That's exactly what it is here. It's tremendous. That is by far, for me, the best beer Sainsbury's have put on the shelves in a bottle in regards to these new beers that have launched in September 2022. It's delightful. That's the best beer £1.60 is ever going to buy in September 2022. For me, that's a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 beer from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers.